Welcome, Husker fans. Thank you for tuning into Big Red Radio, the Husker Talk Show presented to you by Baby Takes Media. Today, we're going to talk about the most underrated moves of the offseason. But before we get into that, Zach, how are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. All I know is, dude, at the top of this list, I don't even think the number one move has happened yet. I think it's going to happen on March 25th. Dylan Rowe is going to commit. It's going to change
That's
Nebraska.
not underrated, though. That's like the opposite of underrated.
That is true. That is not underrated, but that is the number one move when it happens, March 25th. Be there. Welcome him like the second coming of God as he is.
Why March 25th, though?
That's his final visit. That's when he visits Nebraska.
I see. Interesting. Yeah, we got a lot of moves on here, a lot of moves that maybe people are talking down on, or maybe people just aren't talking about a lot. At least that's how I interpreted it. But before we start, want to shout out, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, hit the bell, follow all the socials, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, all going to be in the description below. But before we get started, I do want to mention that it is the off season. So I'm going to mention that our videos / podcasts aren't going to be as formal as they are in the season, where we do like our pregame one, where we go through all of our points and tips and what we need to get off. In the off season, I think we're just going to have one overarching topic. We're going to talk about it. But then also we can kind of veer off however we want, talk about college football, talk about anything really, what's happening, just a lot of different stuff. So just a little more off script stuff like that. But just wanted to get that out there before we get started. But yeah, so we each have our own lists. We're not going to do like a ranking or anything like that. I'm just planning on going through the list and talking about them. And if we're not going to mention any names twice. So if we both have the same name, just talk about it and then yeah, just go from there. So I guess I'll start it off. This is one of our first commitments, one of our first high school commitments, and it's Dylan Rogers, the linebacker from Texas. He was a 3-star. Losing Ernest Hausman really hurt. I'm not saying come in and give us what Ernest Hausman gave us, but he's got a lot of athleticism. He's really fast. He's big. He can play. He may redshirt, but I do think he can have sort of a Hausman type role in this defense, and super excited for him. Really, and of all the recruits, because they all kind of have the same mold of like developmental. Matt Rule wants to develop guys. He wants guys with NFL traits and stuff like that. So super excited for Dylan Rogers, and not a lot of people are talking about it. So yeah, Dylan Rogers was my first guy.
Yeah, for me, I'm just gonna have to do the special teams upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
Still have Brian Buschini. Props to him for changing his number to 18 in honor of Brooke Beringer. That's pretty cool. But we haven't had a really good kicker in a while, and we now have Tristan Alvano, a 5-star homegrown kicker. Marco Ortiz, a 5-star long snapper from Florida. And I just don't think people understand how important those positions are in a Big Ten game, where you'd be lucky if, a blowout is 14 points. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think those are huge upgrades to a special teams unit that has needed some help for a little bit.
Yeah, 100%. Alvano is huge because Bleak Road was fine this year, but like he didn't really have the big time leg sometimes, and had to go for it in places where other big time kickers would just be kicking a field goal there. And the points are really important, like you mentioned, and especially in the Big Ten. These 1-score games really come down to it. One that I thought got talked about a lot when it happened, but really, really, really died off. Elijah Judy, the D-line transfer from Texas A&M. He was a 4-star. Same thing I said with Dylan Rogers. Young, developmental player. He's got loads of potential. I mean, he was a 4-star coming out of high school. I don't even know if he played at Texas A&M this year. He was only a freshman, transfers to Nebraska. So really excited to see what Matt Rule and this entire staff, Terrence Knighton, super excited to see what Terrence Knighton can do with this guy, because he's got a lot of potential. He can play inside, can play outside. It's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, my second one is the Big Red Project, which for people that don't know what that is, it's the new football facility, locker room, rehab, um, anything you could really think of is in that facility, and just pulls in future recruits such as really good QBs from Arizona, um, good recovery for our current players, and just good training overall, um, for our guys to get stronger, faster, and better at what they're trying to be.
Yeah, 100%. Another player I've got, I think my list is all players except for one. My last one is not a player. Um, but my next one is Josh Fleeks from Baylor. Not a big name guy at all. One of our first transfers as he played with Matt Rule at Baylor. So he's an older guy. I think he's probably got 1 year of eligibility left, one or two. Pretty sure it's one. But he's like a wide receiver, running back, kind of hybrid kind of player. As I said, he played under Rule for a year. He had his best year under Rule, slowly started getting less and less and less playing time after Rule left. But I'm really excited because I think he can be the gadget player that kind of like what Scott Frost tried to do with Wandale. Wandale is more of a receiver than he was a running back. As we see now, he's playing in the NFL as a receiver. But super excited because I think a gadget player is super important. You see guys like Tariq Cohen in the NFL. Just if you can get a guy with speed, you want him to get the ball, and if he can run in between the tackles, but can also run a route and catch the ball there, it's really important to have. So I'm really excited to see what Josh Fleeks can do in this loaded receiver and running back room as well.
Yeah, my third one is Corey Campbell. So the last few years, I know we have talent on our O line and D line. I know we do. Ochon Mathis, Garrett Nelson, Turner Cochran's very good. Teddy Prochaska, good. All these guys are good, but we just seem to get out muscled on the O line, out muscled on the D line, and then on offense, it just seems like we're weaker and slower all around. Corey Campbell is going to, I mean, the O line and D line starts in the weight room. You can have as good as feet if you want, but you can do a lot of things with strength and size that you can't do with just really good feet. And so I'm excited to see Corey Campbell come here. I just don't think people are talking enough about how much he's going to bring to this program, just the energy and everything he's going to bring to this program.
Yeah, people haven't been talking about it until recently because I think winter workout started or something like that, and people are saying he's great. Like he's great in the weight room. He really pushes them. He knows what he's doing. So yeah, big time get for sure. My next one is a receiver, and I mentioned while I was talking about Josh Fleeks, this receiver room is absolutely loaded. Like it's crazy how many guys are in there. I wouldn't say that any of them have a Trey Palmer kind of impact in them. Maybe they can make that jump. But there's a bunch of good receivers. IGC, Marcus Washington, Alante Brown, Billy Kemp, who I'm going to talk about next. I just think Billy Kemp he's a transfer from Virginia, wide receiver. He's small. He's 5'9", but I think he has a lot of traits similar to Samori Toure, who we saw last or 2 years ago, transfer in, become that wide receiver one, actually get drafted in the NFL. I don't remember when the last time a Nebraska receiver got drafted before that. So obviously we're going to have one this year, hopefully with Trey Palmer. But yeah, Billy Kemp, he doesn't have the speed that Trey Palmer has, doesn't have the size that Trey Palmer has, but he's got really good hands. He's a really good route runner, and he does have some sneaky speed as well. So we're showing kind of a pattern. We get a transfer guy, he becomes receiver one, he ups his potential, goes to the NFL. I think Billy Kemp could have a very, very similar track as a Toure and a Trey Palmer, and maybe we start seeing that from Nebraska. A guy comes in, makes a huge jump, goes to the NFL. Hopefully Billy Kemp stays a couple of years if he has that many years of eligibility, but really excited to see what Billy Kemp can bring to this team.
Yeah, my second one is stupid fast recruits with low stars. So Jaden Doss is one, runs an 11,300, has a 21-foot long jump. A 21-foot long jump. That is nuts. He's the slowest guy on this list, but his explosiveness is incredible with a 21-foot long jump. DeAndre Barnes, 10.6 900, 200 champ in Texas, 100 bronze, or I believe he's from Colorado. 200 champ Colorado, 100 bronze, also a 3-star, a 10.6 900, right? Jalen Lloyd, 10.5 400 meter. Multiple D1 track offers this guy has. I mean, I think it was like Georgia had offered him in track, multiple SEC track offers. Then we go to the real speedster in the class, Bryce Turner out of Texas, a 10.200. That is nuts to me. That is actually insane to me. You're looking at low fours on the 40.
Yeah. No, he's fast. And that's like what I talk about. That's what Matt Rule looks for, is he looks for those NFL traits. And at Baylor, he really excelled in using speed to get recruits and stuff like that, and length and speed and all that thing. Malachi Coleman's a good example. Yes, Malachi Coleman's a 4-star top athlete in the country, but he's got every single thing that Matt Rule is looking for. He's got the length, he's got the speed. What is he, 6'5"? And he got, I think at the I forgot what bowl he was at. He was at a bowl in Hawaii, like a showcase, and he was in the top 2 for the fastest player.
It was the Poly Bowl, Polynesian Bowl.
Yes.
Yeah, he ended up getting second, which that was stupid close.
Sure. No, I'm not even mad that he got second. The other guy was I think USC 4-star, 5-star, something like that receiver, but he's only like 5'10". Malachi Coleman's 6'5", a full 7 inches taller than him, just right there with him. So no, not worried about some race with a 5'10" guy known for his speed. Not saying Malachi Coleman's not known for his speed, but he's also 6'5", over 200 pounds.
And these guys might not have your route running traits, and these guys might not have the best hands in the world, because most of them are just stupid fast. But get guys in there that can coach them. All that stuff can be coached. Go try to coach speed, right?
Yeah.
You're not changing anyone's speed drastically. You can drastically change route running, and you can drastically change hands. Agility, kinda.
You can do drills for it.
You can do drills, but speed is such a raw talent that you need.
Yeah, totally agree. You can't teach speed, but you can teach route running and knowing coverages and stuff like that. So yeah, totally agree. My last one on this page, I've got 2 more after this, is Ben Scott from Arizona State. He was big time. He was one of the first transfers to commit. I just think he's a good center overall. He's got a really high floor. And it's so important. A center is so important on the O-line. It's the quarterback of the offensive line. When last time we had a good center, he was a great center. Got drafted in the 2nd round of the NFL draft, Cam Jurgens. Probably going to be the starter next year, depending on what Jason Kelsey does this offseason in terms of retirement or not. But yeah, last time we had a good center, our offensive line wasn't great, but it was better. And the center is just so important on the offensive line. So Ben Scott from Arizona State is a huge transfer for us.
Yeah. This one I feel like nobody has talked about, and if they have, it's been negative. But that's Garrett McGuire.
He's on my list. Yeah.
Garrett McGuire is, what is he, 24?
Casey Thompson is the same age.
He played for Matt Rule at Baylor. He was a quarterback, never really played quarterback. Or did he?
He was a backup.
He was a backup. Smart guy. He's a 2-time first-team academic all Big 12 selection. What a guy. But he's coached at the NFL level, offensive assistant and coaching assistant. He's currently our wide receivers coach. Go listen to Matt Rule talk about this guy on Bussin' with the Boys.
For real. No, I'm a huge fan.
Super young football genius, from what I've heard from Matt Rule. Relates to players, as we said.
Yeah.
He's the same age as Casey Thompson. Casey Thompson's a little old for college, but he's same age as, Casey. And so he's going to relate to what these players are going through. It'd be so hard, and I think Matt Rule realized this. It'd be so hard for Matt Rule to relate what these kids go through on a day-to-day basis because he doesn't know. When he was in college, things were completely different. Garrett McGuire knows. He knows what these kids go through on a day-to-day basis. Save salary money because get a guy with this amount of knowledge at the age of 55. You're paying him $1 million, 1.5 million probably. We're paying Garrett McGuire like 285,000, which is a lot. I wish I was 24 making that much money,
Right.
but hopefully I am. But save salary money for guys where we can hire guys like Tony White and Marcus Satterfield, and just really, really good guys like that. He's an incredible recruiter. Out of nowhere, Garrett McGuire is an incredible recruiter, and I feel like part of that is just his young self going out and talking to these high school kids and being like, I know what it's like because I played for Matt Rule.
Mhm.
Here's what's going to happen. I played for him for 4 years. I've coached under him for 2, and I'm still at the age where I can tell you what this world is like at the age you're at.
Right.
And that's so huge in so many different ways. And a lot of people have been like, why are we hiring such a young kid? He has no idea what he's doing. This guy's a genius. His dad is a coach. He's grown up around football. All he knows is football. This guy is an incredible hire.
Yeah, I think so too. And you mentioned it on the Busting with the Boys episode with Matt Rule. He mentioned it. He said he doesn't even think he's going to be able to keep him for 3 years. Like he thinks he's going to be an OC somewhere, eventually a head coach somewhere. And Garrett McGuire came out in a press conference. I don't know if it was today or yesterday, but said like, I've known I wanted to get in coaching since I was in the 2nd grade. Like this guy is committed. This guy knows what he wanted to do. I mean, his dad was a legendary high school coach in Texas. Now is the head coach at Texas Tech doing great things. So football runs in that family. And yeah, just big time. Another fun fact about Garrett McGuire, he was a backup quarterback at the same time Josh Fleeks was, I think, a freshman or a sophomore or something like that. So yeah, they played together, and now Josh Fleeks is playing for Nebraska, and it's just crazy. It's just crazy. He's so young, and I think being young is a good thing. Like people are saying he's so young, he's not going to know what he's doing. Like if Matt Rule brings, like, say what you want about the hire, Matt Rule has been around college football for years, over a decade at this point, and almost 2 decades. He played at the college level, so he knows what he's doing. He's not going to bring a guy in just because. Why not? Like he knows what he's doing. He wants to win. He's not going to bring a guy in that's going to hurt his chances of winning. So I really like the hire. I like Garrett McGuire a lot. I think he's going to do really good things. I think he's going to quickly go up the ladders in coaching as well. My last one, I guess, since you used Garrett McGuire, is running back from New Jersey, Quentin Ives. He's only a 3-star, but that's kind of been the thing that Matt Rule's been doing. 3 stars with NFL traits. I mean, that's always been Matt Rule's thing. You're seeing it firsthand now at Nebraska. But Quentin Ives, he's extremely versatile. EJ Barthel, the running backs coach, has loaded him up, talked about him a lot. Super athletic. He's a 6'3" running back. He needs to put on some weight. He's only 185 pounds, but he's got elite athleticism. And say what you want, I don't know if height really matters that much at the running back position, but if he was in the NFL right now, he'd be the tallest running back in the NFL. Derrick Henry, I think, is 6'2". Granted, Derrick Henry's also like 240, so I think he's got like 60 pounds. But no, I'm super excited to see what Quentin Ives can do. Just another addition in this loaded running back room.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually don't have any more. I just did my top 5. But I think that's a great way to end it. Garrett McGuire is such a good hire. And I also don't want this to take away from any other hires. These were the underrated. These are what people weren't talking about. We know what people are talking about. Matt Rule, obviously, one.
Matt Rule's big. Malachi Coleman, who we did talk about.
Ed Foley.
Ed Foley was honorable mention.
Traveling the country looking for these kids.
Yes. It is
And we
Twitter
got
too. Low key.
Yeah.
Twitter game's pretty good.
Ed Foley.
Yeah.
Pretty solid.
Like an old man. It's like if your grandpa had Twitter, what you would think.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. Good follow. Good follow.
Good follow. Who do you think the best follow is out of the Nebraska coaches? Besides Matt Rule. Let's say besides Matt Rule.
Personally, Matt Rule is actually the only one I follow. So
yeah, I think Barthel's pretty good. Omar Haynes is really good. Sending off
the guy? Who's the guy that sat in the throne and said "Go Big Red"?
That's Omar. Yeah, it's Omar Haynes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I like him. I really do like him.
Yeah, he's like a scout. He's like a scouting guy. He's a personnel guy. So, yeah, no, I'm super excited about these.
Eric Gilbert. What is this Georgia?
Yeah, that's not underrated. Sherman, the linebacker from Georgia as well. Got a pipeline. I will gladly take all of the players that cannot play at Georgia.
So will I.
That's
I don't care. I will take Georgia's seconds.
Yes.
I will take Georgia's seconds, and I will gladly get second next year to Georgia, if that must be.
Right.
I will not be mad. I will be mad in the moment if we get second.
Yeah, if you lose the national championship, you'll be a little disappointed. But in the grand scheme,
as you lose to like Iowa, though.
If you told me right now, like you're gonna be in the national championship, but you're probably gonna lose. You're gonna lose to Georgia. I'd be like, it's fine by me. Let's do it. Let's ride.
Listen, here's what I care about next year. All right, beat Colorado. Beat Colorado. Beat them bad, really, really bad. Send them into a downhill spiral. Next up.
I mean, we're not even their first game. They're not on. No, they play TCU first.
Oh, yeah, they do. Oh, yeah. TCU can start the downhill spiral. We'll just speed it up a little bit.
You know how I will be worried if they come out and beat TCU week 1?
I will too, but
that'd be a scary sight.
Number 2. You don't have to win the Bussin' Bowl. All right. It'd be nice, but you don't have to win the Bussin' Bowl. But god dang it, go out and play. All right. It's gonna be in Lincoln. It's the Bussin' Bowl. Me and Caleb are probably gonna be there. And it gives me Oklahoma 2022 vibes. It's just so sad because we made a very, very big trip. And I was so excited for that game. I don't think I've ever been more hyped in a Nebraska game than when Nebraska drove down and scored on Oklahoma.
Oh, man. Trey Palmer just in the end zone. That was great.
Everything after it, terrible. But it's giving me that. Then, and as always, beat Iowa.
Oh, always.
Beat Iowa.
I'm sure. I think that might be our next video is Nebraska season wish list. Maybe we push that a little closer to the season. But that's a video in the future. But let's talk about Brian Ferentz' new contract. Did you see that?
Yeah, here's what's crazy to me. A couple numbers. I'm a big numbers guy. I'm a business guy. I like the numbers, economics, finance. This isn't quite that, but Brian Ferentz 2020 to 2021.
Pull up the stats.
28, 27 points per game. Which is still not wonderful. It'll get you somewhere, but it's not great. So to put his goal, an incentive of an extra like $300,000 for getting 25, and the defense can help him, and special teams can help him.
Yeah. No, in order to
he needs a defensive touchdown, a field goal, and then 2 of his own every game.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Oh, I think the actual terms in his contract say he has to have 25 points per game and 7 wins to keep his extension going. Which
personally, the lower you make the goals for that guy, the better for us. The longer we can keep Brian Ferentz in Iowa City, the happier I am. Because it is living in Iowa and seeing the pain and agony of Iowa fans whenever I wear Nebraska gear. The nightmares I bring them, the PTSD I bring them by wearing the N around. And they can't say a dang thing about it. They try. But then I always come back. They're like, well, you only had 4 wins. Well, one of them was you.
You. Yeah. Hold on. Let me make sure I have this math right. All right. So this year, Iowa averaged 18.6 points per game, 117th in the country out of, I think, 130. 20% of their scoring came from their defense. So that's about for every 4 touchdowns they scored, or for every 3 touchdowns the offense scores, the defense scores 1.
Be 4 to 1.
Really, they're averaging like 15 points a game. Their offense was
4 to 1.
Yeah, 1 out of every 4. So for every 3,
1 out of every 5.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, 20%.
So for every 4, the defense scores, or the offense scores, defense scores 1.
Which is wild. So really, they're at like 15 points a game.
Iowa is trash. I don't know, since you all are Nebraska fans, you probably don't know about the Cyhawk series. The Cyhawk series is something they do between Iowa and Iowa State. Football is worth 3 points. Every other sport's worth 2 points that they compete in, and they tally up the points at the end of the year. And the winner is the Cyhawk Corn Champion, or whatever they call it. Personally, I have the Nebraska-Iowa series going, and I'd have to check, but Nebraska's leading it. It's kind of close. We got our butt whooped in wrestling, which didn't help, but we beat them in men's basketball. Beat them in football. And
beat them in basketball?
Yeah. Right now, it's looking like we will take women's gymnastics. I think we will take either baseball or softball, and they'll take the other one. And I believe it's going to come down to the women's tennis match in Iowa City. So if no one's doing anything,
basketball and women's basketball.
If no one's doing anything, it's going to come down to the freaking women's tennis match. Go cheer on the Skurs. I might honestly do it for the Heroes Series.
Hey, man. You're only as good as your last game. And Nebraska football won their last game. So
did Iowa technically, but
yeah. But yeah, that after all that, circling back, that was our most underrated moves of the Nebraska offseason. There's still time to come as well. I think we're gonna once we get into the spring, we'll see a few more transfers hit the portal. Maybe a few more transfers come in the portal as well. I think Ochaun Mathis was actually a late addition to the portal last year. So some big names still out there to go and get. But super excited for next year. These players, remember, are underrated. No shots at the players we didn't mention because they're more bigger name. And yeah, obviously we like them too, but these are just the ones that are underrated. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe, hit the bell so you don't miss an episode. Make sure you follow all the socials in the description. Zach, you got anything else?
That's all.
Perfect. Well, without further ado, go Big Red.